Welcome to another video with new stories from Ethiopia and Somalia. Firstly, with breaking news is from Ethiopia. Ridwan Hussein, Ethiopian security advisor, national security advisor, lashed out at foreign diplomats and envoys who visited Tigray 2 days ago. This team of foreign ambassadors was allowed to travel to Tigray, and Ethiopian government permitted this team to visit Tigray. The team came back with a letter from Tigray government for Ethiopian federal government. Ethiopian federal government is mad at these foreign diplomats. What happened? What is Ridwan Hussein, Ethiopian negotiator, national security advisor, saying about the visit of these foreign diplomats to Tigray? Secondly, Somalia, where 75-member huge cabinet of the PM Hamza Abdi Bare was announced around 24 hours ago. A big cabinet, a huge cabinet, but still some regions are not happy. Two regions have announced boycott of this cabinet. Thirdly, news story from the Somali region of Ethiopia, where efforts are underway to mobilize religious clerics in the fight against Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab wants to penetrate Somali region of Ethiopia, Muslim majority region of Ethiopia, and Al-Shabaab has extremist Muslim ideology. That is why Muslim clerics are being mobilized by the Somali region of Ethiopia. Fourthly, a new story from Oromia Amhara border. Travelers who want to enter Addis Ababa are being stopped. In a previous video, we spoke on that. Now we have to see some updates that money is being demanded and money is being negotiated. Several hundred Ethiopian birds are being demanded for entry into Addis Ababa from the Amhara region of Ethiopia, and those who are carrying passports, they have to pay huge amounts of money on Amhara-Oromia border. And lastly, viewers, Tigray government today criticized UN inquiry commission which was in Ethiopia on a 5-day visit. It was not allowed to visit Tigray. Tigray government today lashed out at this inquiry commission, UN inquiry commission. What happened? Why is Tigray not happy with this commission? Which questions have been raised by Tigray regional government? Firstly, viewers, it seems that foreign diplomats, UN, are under attack from Ethiopian government, from Tigray as well. A delegation of foreign ambassadors, ambassador of UK, Canada, Italy, EU special envoy Annette Weber, US special envoy Mike Hammer, they visited Tigray 2 days ago. Before that, they held meetings in Addis Ababa with Ethiopian government officials. Damake Mekonnen, Ridwan Hussein, Justice Minister of Ethiopia, held meetings with this delegation. And after that, the delegation was permitted to visit Tigray, where it held meetings with Debretsion Gebremichael, Tigray leaders. Tigray shared its side of the story, its concerns, its demands, its conditions for start of talks. And Tigray handed over a security guarantee to these negotiators, to these foreign diplomats for onward delivery to Ethiopian federal government. Security guarantee that workers who will be involved in restoration of basic services in Tigray will be protected by Tigray government. So these foreign diplomats came back with a letter from Tigray regional government for Ethiopian federal government. Then a debriefing was held. Ridwan Hussein, after this debriefing, after this meeting, after the return of foreign ambassadors in Addis Ababa, debriefing was held, and now Ridwan Hussain is mad at these foreign diplomats. What did he say? Ridwan, in a statement just a few hours ago, raised questions about these foreign diplomats. He said, government is dismayed at the course adopted by these foreign diplomats when they were in Mekelle. They were sent to Tigray to press for unequivocal commitment for peace talks, but they indulged in appeasing and fulfilling the preconditions of the other party. In the joint statement, these foreign diplomats talked about unfettered humanitarian access, which has already been ensured. Ethiopian government says, Ridwan Hussain says, that unfettered humanitarian access has already been ensured. Aid trucks are freely entering Tigray. Number of humanitarian flights has been increased, and the issue of lack of fuel has also been resolved, and there are no humanitarian aid delivery issues. But these foreign diplomats, which returned from Tigray, in their statement pressed for unfettered humanitarian access to Tigray. It means that they are going against what was discussed in the meetings held in Addis Ababa. And lastly, he says, bottom line is African Union is the only channel. This last sentence is very important, viewers. It seems that Ethiopian government is telling these envoys, EU's envoys, special envoy, US special envoy, that now the matter will be resolved by African Union. So it seems as if government is saying that you're not impartial. You were sent to Tigray to put pressure upon Tigray government to start talks. Instead, you came back with a letter from Tigray regional government, and now you want restoration of basic services. Ridwan Hussain further said that basic services will be restored after the creation of enabling conditions, after the creation of semblance of peace, after start of talks. So Ethiopian federal government is saying that basic services like telecom, banking, electricity will be restored after the start of talks. But Tigray regional government and these foreign diplomats, in their statements, they have been saying that restoration of basic services must start immediately before the start of talks. But Ethiopian government today clearly said that basic services will be restored after the start of talks. It seems that this effort by EU, US diplomats to kickstart, to push start the process of talks has failed. It has failed miserably. Ethiopian government is showing its concerns that these foreign diplomats are not impartial, and only African Union will be the leading mediator. Tigray has already rejected African Union as a leading mediator. It means that stalemate is still there. It is becoming more visible. No signs of any progress made so far. Both sides are sticking to their positions. Tigray says first restore basic services, then talks. Ethiopian federal government says let's start talks, then gradually services will be restored. What will happen next? Will these envoys, EU, US envoys, will they once again travel to Tigray. Will they be allowed to visit Tigray? I don't think so. I think now they will not be allowed to visit Tigray. Rather, they have been unofficially told to go back home. Overall, very discouraging what we are seeing. It means that now a new effort is needed to bring the two parties to table. Who will lead this effort? African Union, controversial for Tigray. These EU, US envoys, controversial for Ethiopian federal government. What's going to happen next? Let's see. It's turning into a hopeless situation. If it is prolonged, things could move towards armed escalation, which must be avoided at any cost. Secondly, viewers, we have a new story from Somalia. Just 2 days ago, 75-member cabinet was formed. Hamza Abdi Bare, the Prime Minister chosen by Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, Somalia's president, selected 75 ministers, deputy ministers, full ministers, state ministers, 75 in total. But still some regions are not happy. They say they have not been given their share in the cabinet. 2 regions have issued statements rejecting this federal cabinet of Hamza Abdi Bare, PM of Somalia. Vice President of Jubaland, his name is Muhammad Said, and Vice President of Gulmudug, Ali Eid, have issued statements. They are calling for boycott of this Somali Prime Minister's cabinet. They say that their share was not given in the cabinet. That is why they are against this cabinet. Southwest state, its president is already not on good terms with federal government. Puntland's Dini has his concerns too, has his complaints too. He was hoping that PM would be from Puntland, but PM is from Jubaland. So Puntland has questions, complaints against federal government. Southwest, already seen as Farmajo's ally. Now Galmudug and Jubaland are also raising questions. How will this government perform if there is so much internal political conflict in Somalia? This relation between federal government and regional governments of Somalia has long been strained. There must be some constitutional roadmap, some agreement once and for all to renew the federation versus regions relations. Otherwise, we'll keep on seeing this political wrangling and armed groups will make use of the situation. They'll exploit this situation. Thirdly, a new story from the Somali region of Ethiopia, which came under attack from Al-Shabaab. The last 10 days, we have been seeing fighting. Al-Shabaab tried to gain foothold in the Somali region of Ethiopia. It could not succeed. But still, its fighters are operating in some parts of the region and they are being arrested. Hundreds have been killed on both sides, dozens arrested as well. Somali regional government is sharing pictures of newly captured Al-Shabaab fighters. Al-Shabaab is an extremist Muslim organization. Somali region of Ethiopia, predominantly Muslim majority region. So that is why Somali regional government is now involving religious clerics, Muslim clerics, that they should speak against Al-Shabaab. And some meetings, some public meetings have been held in Jigjiga, in Somali region's capital, other parts of Somali region as well, and religious scholars, clerics were invited. and there they spoke against Al-Shabaab, they condemned Al-Shabaab, and they announced that fight against Al-Shabaab was a religious duty. So Ethiopian government, Somali regional government is trying to stop the ideology of Al-Shabaab from entering the Somali region of Ethiopia by involving these clerics, Muslim clerics. It should happen. These Muslim religious leaders, they must play their role. Otherwise, Al-Shabaab will try to influence minds and hearts of the people in the Somali region of Ethiopia. Fourthly, viewers, a new story from Amhara-Oromia border. In a previous video, we shared some pictures showing travelers who face problems when they try to enter Oromia from Debre Birhan, from Amhara region, and they want to travel to Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. This problem is continuing in Shino town, which is right on Amhara-Oromia border along Debre Birhan, Addis Ababa road. In Shino town, these travelers from the Amhara region of Ethiopia are stopped. Money is demanded. Money is negotiated. Several hundred Ethiopian birds are demanded, and people, travelers, they have to pay this money to security forces in Shino on Amhara-Oromia border. Shino is in Oromia border. It means there will be deployment of Oromia region's forces there. And people who want to travel to Addis Ababa, who want to fly from Addis Ababa, if they have passports, then they are charged more. They have to pay more to these security officials. It's corruption. It's very unfortunate that it is happening right on Amhara-Oromia border. No action taken from Oromia regional government so far. It has been happening for several days, for several weeks rather. And several news outlets have highlighted this issue, but so far no action taken by the government, and people are suffering. They have to pay money to enter Oromia or they are returned, and sometimes their ID cards are confiscated. So when they return to the Amhara region of Ethiopia, they face problems because they have no ID cards. Lastly, viewers, Tigray regional government today questioned the impartiality of UN Inquiry Commission on Ethiopia, which visited Ethiopia last week from the 25th of July till the 30th of July. I think the commission was in Ethiopia, three-member commission formed last year to investigate human rights abuses, violations of humanitarian law, refugee law, committed during Tigray conflict. The commission did not travel to Tigray. It was not allowed to visit Tigray. And Tigray regional government is now questioning the impartiality of this commission. Tigray government says that this commission did not carry out any meaningful engagement with Tigray regional government. Though Getachew in weekly press briefing confirmed that this commission wrote a letter to Tigray President Vladimir Mikhail asking for an appointment, but regional government external affairs bureau said that no meaningful engagement was carried out by this commission with Tigray regional government. Secondly, it says that evidence of atrocities being committed in Tigray is being destroyed by Amhara forces, especially in western Tigray, and the commission is silent. Thirdly, that Tigray is still under siege. Still, violations of human rights are being committed by regional militias, by forces, government forces, but commission is silent. It did not say anything about lifting of blockade, lifting of siege. Fourthly, it says that Tigray regional government says that the deadline issued by this commission for submission of details of human rights abuses to the commission, 31st of July, was a very short deadline. Keeping in view that there is no internet, no telecom in Tigray, deadline must have been extended, but it wasn't. And lastly, it says that Tigray government says that the commission is hoping that it will be granted access to Tigray. Why is it hoping? It should demand access to Tigray. If the government is not granting access, it should condemn this move. It shouldn't use the word hope. It should demand access to Tigray, because the commission has been tasked with the investigation by UN Human Rights Council. So, UN Human Rights Council's commission, inquiry commission is back. It's not in Ethiopia. It wasn't allowed to visit Tigray. Tigray government is not happy. It says that the commission did not engage Tigray government, which is a party to this conflict, aggrieved party, because atrocities were committed in Tigray. The commission wants access. Government, Ethiopian government is not giving access. Will the government give access? The way foreign diplomats returned from Tigray 2 days ago, and now government is mad at them, saying that they did not adopt the right course. It means that this UN inquiry commission might not be given access to Tigray as well. Both the developments, Tigray's criticism of inquiry commission, UN inquiry commission, and Ethiopian government's criticism of foreign diplomats, are very discouraging development. Things were moving towards stability, towards start of talks, towards investigation of human rights abuses. But today's developments indicate that no considerable progress has been made towards the resolution of Tigray conflict. If there is no intervention in coming days, we could see resumption of some armed hostilities, which should be avoided. Tigray says it's under pressure from its army, opposition parties, people of Tigray. It needs restoration of basic services. It needs proper investigation of human rights abuses committed in Tigray. Ethiopian government is not giving access to investigators to visit Tigray, and it is not ready to restore basic services as well. So stalemate is there, viewers. Thank you for watching.